Okay, a few minutes ago, it started to get really smoky here, and sirens have been going for the last few minutes. And it's not the big fire north of me. This is new, and this is close. I don't know where, but it's down in that direction, southward. The fire is back that way. The big one is back behind me. This is bad. And yet people are laughing over there. Like, look at the smoke. This is bad. This is horrible. I don't know what this is. What? This is what happens when you give a Virgo too much time to think. Yeah. Hey? Yeah. Cindy Lou doesn't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. So, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of smoke outside. God, my hair's all frizzy because the humidity came back. So I'm just, all the stuff that I've been kind of collecting over the past 2 weeks since the Kingston fire started, I'm just getting it all in a pile by the door. And hopefully we don't need to use it, and then I just put it away. But there's something happening outside, and it's here in Carbonear, I'm pretty sure, because the smoke came on too fast and too thick. So I guess I won't be sleeping tonight, and I didn't sleep much last night either. So I don't know. I'll post this in the morning, or yeah, whenever I get a chance. Okay, bye. Okay, I was finally able to find out something on the Carbonear firehouse Facebook page. It's the only way to get any information around here is on Facebook, which I hate. But anyway, apparently the winds have shifted, so it is the smoke from the Kingston fire that's north of us. But I did hear the fire trucks going somewhere around the same time that the smoke started coming here. So visibility outside right now is not very good. The air quality is not good at all. I have my air filter on and all the windows and doors closed, and it's friggin' hot in here. The temperature outside has gone down, so that's good. It did rain a little bit today, so that's good. I'll get more on that later, but yeah, so if the winds have shifted and it's blowing the smoke this way, it also means that it's blowing the fire this way. So that's not good. So I guess I'm just gonna sit here and probably not sleep tonight. It's very smoky this morning. Yep. Not very pleasant. I can't even tell which way the wind is coming from. I think it's coming from the fire direction, so coming south, but it is still really smoky and not as bad as last night. Not nearly as bad as last night, but it's still smoky. Can still smell it and taste it and crunch it. It was bothering Cindy Lou, but she does still need to come outside for biological breaks. So we're not going to be out for long. Look at that. Can barely even see the other side of the bay. This is Carbonear Bay we're looking at. Wow. Hi folks, how's it going? It's been a while since I did a full-length video, but thought I would do one today because there's been quite a lot going on the past couple of weeks. You've maybe seen it on the news. Just north of Carbonear, where I live, is Newfoundland and Labrador's largest wildfire. It started August 3rd and has been expanding ever since. The last update I saw, which I think was updated just last night or possibly early this morning, it is over 9,800 hectares wide, or in size, like so from top to bottom I think it's 17 kilometers on the long side, and it's just terrifying. It is terrifying. This is hard. From what we know, over 100 structures have been destroyed. They can't get in close enough to know for certain how many homes or other structures have been destroyed, because the fire is just so big and so smoky. The dog is about to move furniture around, so if the camera goes over, it's Cindy Lou. I have co-workers who have been evacuated for over a week, and they've been living in either the school gym here in Carbonear or in the parking lot or the town park that is across the street from the school. The day that they evacuated was terrifying. My coworker, I was working with her in the online orders at the store, and she and a few other staff members they literally just dropped their things and they raced home, and they grabbed what they could out of their car and into the car and went to the evacuation center here in Carbonear. So the southern end of the fire is currently, I think, about 13 to 15 kilometers north of me. So we're not, here in Carbonear, we're not in immediate danger of fire at the moment. We may not ever be, I don't know, because the prevailing winds for Conception Bay, where we are coming from the southwest. So the winds have been primarily blowing the fire toward the north end of the peninsula. The entire Bay de Verde Peninsula, where we are, has been under a state of emergency for about a week now. Yesterday at work, let me add in here, this area of Newfoundland, we have not seen a single drop of rain since the end of July. The last rain we had in July, on July 30th, was only 8 millimeters. 8 millimeters. Much. That much. And we hadn't had much rain before that. I think for the month of July we got about half what Newfoundland usually has. We have had several heat warnings in Newfoundland. This is unusual for Newfoundland to have several days hitting the 30°C mark. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to move down here, was because the climate is typically cooler than southern Ontario, where I'm from. But this summer it's been disgustingly hot. It's usually very, very humid. The past 2 weeks have been very, very, very dry. Like one day I think the humidity was 33%. That's low, like that's desert low. It's usually 80% or above. So yesterday, getting back to yesterday at work, again, I was working in the online orders. My coworker had come back a couple of days ago. She's still evacuated. She's living in her camper in the park over by the high school. People who live in Victoria, which is just kind of the next big town north of us, they started receiving notifications that they should be ready to go home and pack. They've been on evacuation alert for about a week. So then yesterday they started receiving notifications that the winds are shifting, get ready to go. The evacuation order still has, as far as I know, still has not got to Victoria, but everybody was getting ready. So a bunch of them kind of left in the afternoon to get home and start stuffing the cars. And then yesterday afternoon, gosh, I think it was about lunchtime, I was taking out an online order to someone in the parking, and so I got out there, and it was like just very, very, very lightly drizzling. The clouds were black and just a light drizzle. So I'm dropping off the groceries to this customer, and I was like, is this actually rain that we're feeling? And we were just, you know, baffled. The drizzle that we got the other day, it lasted maybe 15 seconds. Didn't even hit the ground. It was so dry. So then as I'm loading the trunk for one customer, another person walks up to me and says, do I need to bother to call? I'm here to pick up my order. So I said, no, if you call, I probably won't get it because I've got the phone in my pocket and I'm out of range. Because it's like a VoIP wireless phone. So then I just said, you know, give me 5 minutes, I'll be back out. And she said, okay, I'm just going to stand here in the drizzle and enjoy this. So I finished loading up the first customer, went back into the store, got the second order loaded up, back at the door, and it is now pouring rain. I rushed outside and I was so happy, like laughing, crying. People were cheering in the parking lot. It was fantastic, just amazing. It was very, very emotional. And then I got to the customer's car, and she was standing there, and she was like wiping tears off her face, which was useless because it was raining so hard. And then we were laughing and crying, and then we hugged each other. And I was just, oh my God, it was, you can't even imagine. After no rain for so long, and it's so dry, and there's, you know, for 2 weeks, ash has been falling from the sky, and people are losing their homes, and it's just been so scary. It was giving us a little bit of hope. Then it didn't rain very much or for very long, and it didn't get up the bay to the fire. It kind of stuck with us here in Carbonear, so it brought no relief to the fire or the firefighters or the people who have been evacuated. So that was quite disheartening to learn that. And then about 8 o'clock last night, and I will edit in a bunch of videos that I took over the last little while. About 8 o'clock last night, I was out walking the dog, and we went outside, normal, 8 o'clock evening. I could see all of my neighbors sitting in their living rooms. Like, the temperature went down yesterday. It started to go down yesterday, and yesterday evening it was starting to get comfortable outside after so many days of this heat dome sitting right over the island. And then, like, we just went out for a 5-minute walk for her to do her evening constitutional kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, we're like maybe halfway around, all of a sudden I can smell smoke. And then it just got thicker and thicker and thicker, and I started coughing and choking. And then I could hear the fire trucks going, and I thought, oh my Jesus! Now, I thought because the smoke was so thick and it came up so suddenly, and that I could hear fire alarms, I thought for sure something in Carbonear is on fire, because a few days ago there had been a bushfire at a camp, a children's camp, just terrifyingly just the other side of where all the evacuees are staying. So that I was literally standing there outside, just, fuck, what is this? What is happening? I didn't understand what was going on. Like, I know it's a fire, obviously, but I couldn't tell where it's coming from. And then my neighbor up on the hill, Nicole, she slings her head out the window, "Get inside, Rebecca. You're gonna start choking." So then I come inside, and I'm just like frantically trying to figure out what's going on. Is it a fire here in Carbonear? Is it the fire spreading north of us? Like, what's happening? I'm closing all the windows and you can probably hear that terrible sound is my air purifier, so I don't want to turn it off. I have turned off the fan because that was driving me. So after about an hour or so of me like kind of going around the house, and I have been collecting things. Like, you saw my video a few months ago with the first fire. I made a go bag that's been in the car since, but since then, because since the fire started up here in Kingston, and now all of those people have been evacuated for 2 weeks now, and a 72-hour go bag that's going to last me 72 hours. What do I do with the rest of the weeks that I could potentially be out of my home? Because so many thousands of people are evacuated. We're running out of accommodation on the Avalon. And then, what do? Do I drive, for hours and hours to find somewhere to go? No, I would go to whatever evacuation center they determine would be safe-ish, I suppose. And I would just stay in the van. Cindy Lou and I can just camp in the van. So I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna need more food. And because I have celiac disease, the big buffet breakfast, lunch, and supper that they're making for people, I will not be able to eat any of that. And God bless them. We've seen all the volunteers and the families coming into the grocery store for the past 2 weeks, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartening and it's heartbreaking. The volunteers are doing a fantastic job keeping the people fed, keeping them somewhat sane. They've got medical assistants, they've got counselors, they've got therapy dogs up there, they've got entertainers, a guy just standing outside the school singing all day long, and it's just amazing what the people are doing for the evacuees. But if you figure, if we had to evacuate Carbonear now contains thousands of people from all of the northern communities that have been evacuated, and that's a lot. They're very small communities, but that's a lot of people that are now living in the school, and in the parking lot at the school. So we would have to evacuate all of those people, and then evacuate all of Carbonear, which has a population of 5,000 or something. And then all of the other little communities between that, the fire would have to get to them before it gets to Carbonear. So it's thousands upon thousands of people. So I would end up staying in the van because Cindy Lou would be just going crazy if they even allow dogs to stay in the shelter. A couple of them have been allowing pets inside the shelter, and some of them haven't. So, I mean, I would just stay in the van anyway. It would just be easier for all of us. So I would have to grab her kennel, just in case. So that'll be stuffed in the back seat, and I've got, you know, I bought a couple things like for car camping, like to sleep in the van rather than using my backpacking sleeping mat. I bought like a foam mattress for the van, and some other stuff. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff. I'll show you that video. But it has been absolutely terrifying the past couple of weeks. Last night really, really was terrifying. I hadn't slept much the night before. Like, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I just couldn't get back to sleep, so I don't know, I got up and watched a couple episodes of Resident Alien and went, oh, it's time to get up anyway. So now it is nice and cool outside, but it's smoky, so I can't even open the windows to cool the house off. I don't have air conditioning. It's 23.5 degrees in here, Celsius, which for me, that's warm. Outside, it's a beautiful sunshiny day, not a drop of rain in sight, again, and the wind is still coming from the north, so it's pushing the smoke down to us, and potentially the fire as well, because where the wind blows, that's where fire goes. And some people really, really suck. So Nova Scotia is burning, New Brunswick is burning, Newfoundland is burning, almost every single province straight across the country is burning. So some restrictions have had to be put in place, so more people don't lose their homes. So that, I mean, luckily here in Newfoundland we have not had any loss of life. There has been loss of homes and loss of businesses. A school burned up the other day in the Kingston fire here. But people are complaining about not being allowed to have fires in their backyard because the kids want to have s'mores. They've been complaining that now the premier says they can't go and ride their ATV in the woods. Well, the ATV, the exhaust gets hot, it sparks. This grass is like tinder. It crunches underfoot. It is so dry that just the slightest little spark can start a wildfire that grows to 9,800 hectares. And people are complaining that they can't, even some of the evacuees, for crying out loud. So people are calling into the province has created a tip line, not to rat out your neighbors, but to take pressure off of the 911 system. So they've started a tip line. Call into the tip line, and if you see anything of people either going against the regulations, and these are temporary, these are not permanent, these are temporary until we get enough rain to put out the frickin' fires and make the grass green again. If you see someone deliberately setting a fire, which a young man in St. John's was charged and fined $150,000 for starting 3 brush fires deliberately. He was going around the city starting brush fires deliberately, like, what an arse. There's the Paddy's Pond fire that is very close to the suburbs of St. John's. It's close to Paradise, and close to a couple of neighborhoods of St. John's. Apparently that was also deliberately started, which is crazy. Like, that one's over 300 hectares. This one north of me may or may not have been deliberately set by a firebug. There are varying stories of either a 14-year-old boy or a gang of teens or a middle-aged woman who has mental health issues. Like, so who knows? I don't know, but there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of people being stupid and selfish and not thinking about their neighbors. And then there's a lot of people who are being selfless and giving so much to their neighbors. Um, the majority of the firefighters here in Newfoundland are volunteer firehouses. These people give up their paying jobs to run out and put out fires to protect their neighbors and put their own lives on the line. That's what people don't get, I think. These people do this because just out of the goodness of their own heart and soul. And their own lives are being put on the line. Now, the Premier announced a couple of days ago that compensation is going to be worked out for all of the volunteers, which is amazing. The other day, Cindy Lou and I walked past the Carboneer Fire Hall, and there's some guys in there not currently fighting a fire somewhere. So we dropped in to say hello, and their pagers are all started going off, and I mean, they started jumping into their gear, and like one guy's like half dressed in his gear, and then dispatch gets on again, says nope, sorry, false alarm. Like, holy shit. And like their faces just went, like all of them, kind of a mixture of thank God and what the fuck. Right? Like, they've been through so much. All of them have been through so much this summer. There have been so many fires up here. Remember, I drove through the fire area earlier in the summertime. There's been hot spots and fires popping up in that area all summer long. So apparently there's been like 12 of them. So then this latest fire that has now expanded to 9,800 hectares was either a hot spot that flared up, or someone deliberately started it, or just something innocuous started it. Like the other day at work, one of my co-workers, cashier, we heard a whole bunch of people in the store saying that a fire has now broken out in Spaniards Bay. She lives in Spaniards Bay, so she's like, okay, I'm out of here. So she was out for a couple of days. When she came back in the other day, I said, so was your house in the area? And she said, no, thankfully, but her house is here, and then she's got a cemetery on that side of the road, and then a cemetery behind her as well. A fire started in the cemetery behind her because like people put decorations and stuff on the grave sites. So somebody had like a glass lantern on a grave site, and the sunshine just refracted through the glass and started a fire. So the fire department had to be called there. So now, I don't know, she called the town and said, like, somebody needs to go and clean out the cemeteries, otherwise my house is gone and my 5 cats. So so some cemeteries are asking people to go and clean up, but not all of them. So I mean, just something as innocuous as having a decoration out on your front porch, or on a loved one's gravestone, or fires have started with like a piece of glass on a hiking trail. Like some kid has, broken a bottle out on a trail, and the sun hits it just right. Remember when you were a kid and you get the magnifying glass and you start a fire? It's just like that. So I mean, a lot of these fires are potentially being started inadvertently by humans, or it could just be, I don't know, spontaneous combustion because it's just so fucking dry and hot. But some people just would rather make up their conspiracy theories that it was either a 14-year-old boy or a gang of teens or a mentally deranged woman. Like, they would rather believe that than what they might be doing could be harming and starting fires, right? Like, people are still having backyard fires, and than leaving them untended. There's a fire ban in Newfoundland from May 1st until September 1st. That's been for a number of years from what I understand. So, and people are still just not adhering to that, despite the wildfires literally burning all around us. Literally burning all around us. I can smell it, even with all my windows closed and my air purifier on. I mean, I go outside, I was just walking the dog, and I come back inside and I smell like a campfire, which normally is not a bad thing. But when you know what's going on just north of here and all over the country and all over the world, like, people, stop being stupid, please. Just stop being stupid. Use some critical thinking power. These things, this activity could potentially cause a fire. Am I going to endanger myself and my neighbors by doing this? And then like Nova Scotia is telling people to not go hiking, not go camping backcountry. The East Coast Trail here in Newfoundland, I've received several messages from them. Stay off the trails, don't go out camping. And it's not because they think that we are going to go out there and start fires. No, it's because if a fire starts out there and you're out in the backcountry and you have to call for help to be rescued, what odds that they're going to be able to get you before you burn to death? Think about that. If you are out in the backcountry and a wildfire breaks out and this entire island is nothing but a big pile of tinder, how are they going to come and rescue you? How are you going to call out? Not everybody carries an SOS like I do. So think about that. They are not trying to be mean. They're not trying to accuse you of starting fires. They're telling you it is not safe, because if a fire breaks out, they may not be able to get out there to help you. So just stay the fuck home. Just stay home. Binge Resident Alien like I'm doing. Binge whatever you want. Listen to the radio. For updates, don't go to Facebook. Don't go to Twitter. Don't go to whatever. I don't use social media. Other than YouTube, which is arguably not social media. Or is, I don't know. But don't go to Facebook for your updates. Go to the government official website, because they're giving as much information as they can. And their information is from people on the ground who are there fighting the fire. It is not from people 100 kilometers away making up stories. So please, just don't be stupid. Don't be a dick. Just stay home. Pray for rain.